Hey guys, welcome to the stream. It's a Friday night, everything's good, and we are doing some more development. So, we are basically working on a ladder and climbing system, which so far is actually looking pretty good. As you can see, except for one thing, which is when you get to the top, it basically stops you. But we are going to put another check and we're going to say if this is not active, so not boolean, okay, now this is going to be set to active whenever we do this. Okay, so that's going to be on both of these. Okay, but we are merely testing, and what we're going to say is on finish we're going to enable this stuff, the controller again, right, and then we're going to delay. This is just for testing purposes, guys, okay? So we're going to say delay. We're going to say 5 seconds, which will give us time to get out the way. And then we're going to say boolean set that to false. Okay? So this here, actually, you know what we can do? We can delete that for now. Right? And that's this. And we can say basically top collision. We're going to delete that. We're going to go in here and it's overlap pawn only. And we're going to do that, and this is the one that's going to go in here. Now this gives me a little less time, but as I said, this is just a test at the moment. Okay, so we're going to save that. And now we're going to run it again. Right, that gives us an R. Okay, and now we don't seem to be colliding with that. Interesting. Okay. This is top collision. Okay, and I think what we'll do in this instance is we'll set it not to be hidden so that we can actually see the thing. And yeah, that ain't right. Well, what we'll do is we'll press play and we'll find out what's going on. So there is our box. And we need to take a look at this in the construction, because if we look at that, that ain't the same thing, right? If we do, let's say 20, that's not what we wanted. Right? Wow. Okay. So as you can see here, our box has gone in the wrong direction. Okay. So when we're calculating this on the Y, we're actually going to multiply it by -2. For whatever reason, it didn't like that. There we go. So right, we're going to do one more thing, and that's plug this directly in here, because it doesn't look like we need the extents. So if we save that now, that is looking a bit better. It's not perfect, that's for sure, but we should be able to set that to 0, and that's still not quite right. Okay. So relative location Y has to be 0. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what, we'll get rid of that. Now, it's adding something to Y. and I don't know what. Right, because this should be 0. If we look at the outline object, you can see here that it's all zeros. If we multiply 0 by 2 or minus 2, we get 0. Right? And this spline is also set to 0. Now I'm wondering here, if I actually apply it to here, what happens? And it's still not quite right. Right? This is not 0. Okay? Is it? Well, that's weird. Right, hang on a second. If that's the case, we should just need to multiply that by 1 and take it out altogether if that actually works, which it does. Ah, but it's moving our box. Right, that did not do anything to the spline. Right, so I'm going to put that back. Right. And then we're going to multiply this by 2 again. Okay. And this temp spline if we viewport this, you'll notice that both our box and our thing are slightly off. Now I'm going to guess that they are 5.32 off. Okay? So temporarily we're going to break that. We're going to split that. We're going to split that. We're going to say that. And we're going to say that minus our extends. Right? And it should actually maybe be our extents divided by 2. Right, but if we put that in there, then put our Z in there. Okay. Our spline should be correct. And it's not. It's worse. Right, and that's because we've done that the wrong way round. Which is fine. So we should be doing that minus that, right? Now I'm going to guess that this might be 2 point, well I think it's 5.32, right? So it might be 2.8, which would make it the wrong way, the other way. Okay. So that being the case, that should be divided by 2. Right, we're going to move this a bit so we can see what's going on. Right. And it's too far the other way now. Okay. So there's something weird and wacky going on here. And that's staying exactly where it is, which is bad news. So I've made it worse, which is always a good thing. Right. So here's a spline, right? And there is our other one, which is 14. Okay. So where it's getting that 14 from, I have no idea whatsoever. Okay. So that is a bit of a mystery. I can only consider that it's getting it right. So So this is setting our top collision, right? So let's start again, and we'll do this slightly different, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that. I'm going to remove that, then that is going to go in there. Right, and that is actually going to go in there. Actually, no, it's not. Right, this should go in here. And Z should come from here. Right, so drag this over. Have a look at the viewport. And we've still got the 14. Okay, so I think what we've got to do here is we're going to have to take, we are going to have to get this value, right? But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to split this up a bit so that we can actually check the numbers coming in, right? So what I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to basically get this, I'm going to copy it, and that's not the best idea because right, okay, so this is the box and not the spline. Let's have a look again. Our box is off center as well, so we need to see the values coming in to our box, right? So it's this one here which is being fed from this, right? Now we might not want to get this actor, it's not that one. If we just type bounds and we get local bounds, right? And then we break this one. And we take this value here. What do we get? That's a bit more like it. Right? And I'm going to say right, that if we, let's see if we're doing anything with extends. We're not. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with extends. I'm going to get it. I'm going to divide it by 2. Right? And then I'm going to get this. And I'm going to say minus the extends. And then that is going to go in here. And it's also going to go in here. Compile that, viewport, bingo. Right? Now, the reason that's okay is because the extends is the width of our static mesh, right? And we know that that's 5.32, so you divide 5.32 by 2, and that gives us the center point in our extends, so that's what we take off, and then that leaves us bang in the middle, right? So now if we do this, you see how our spline is in the right place. Okay? But our box isn't, but it should be here. Okay? So basically this what we can do is we should be able to delete that, and delete that. Then we should be able to recombine them, and this should actually go in here. Compile that, go to the viewport, and it did not work. Our Y is still not right. Right? Ah! No, wait a minute. That should be going in there. Right, this is temp spline end. Temp spline end. Right. So duplicate that. And that should be the same thing. But it's not. Right, if we view it from the front, our box has basically stayed where it was. Right. And if we spin it another, it's going down. So it's as if the Z is getting mixed up. No, that's fine. No, it is fine doing that. But there's something up with Y. So let's have a look at that again. And what we'll do this time is we'll put that there, right? And we'll put that there. And that is bizarre. You know, I'll tell you what we're going to do, right? I'm going to event graph, I'm going to viewport it, right? And we're going to set this back to 0, right? Now that we've set it back to 0, right, what I want to see is what this is. You'll see there that it's way off, right? The spline's way off. Except this time it's actually not. Right? I mean, it isn't right. It's not quite right yet, but That spline is goddamn weird. Right, you can see that is minus 24. Let's see if we actually... I'm just... right, okay. Let's... That's 0. That is bizarre as well. Right, bottom collision is 0, 0, 0. Is this as bizarre as I think it is? That if I set that to 0, it's going to be in the right place. Oh, it's not quite. And it has rotated for some unknown reason. Let's put that there. And let's see if we can sort this out somehow. Yeah, we're kind of losing it here. Now, the question is, are we... Okay. Right. I think this is utter bullshit. Right? So what I'm going to do is these, that can go, right? That can go. We're going to get that. I'll try to help you. I'll try to help you. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but ask a question. And we shall take a... we'll have a think about it and see if we can. So, what we want is Z. Right? Now, the question is, where does Z go? So, our Z plus that plus that, so that is the number we want in here. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so our next issue is minimum y, although it could be maximum. Okay, so again, there we go. Okay, so this isn't right, obviously. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to have a look at our top collision, and those are saying 0, 0. Now I'm taking that that's because we've constructed. Okay, well, tell me what your problem is. I can't fix your problem if you don't tell me what it is. Top collision. Right. So I'm thinking myself in circles here, so it might actually be a good idea for you to ask me this question so that I can reconvene my thoughts. Right, so if that is actually min and it's not, right, and if we do it from top, right, it's definitely on the Y. Right? So if we look at it from the side again, sorry, from the front, right, you can see that our spline is nearly spot on. Okay, is nearly spot on. So it would appear to me, right, that the problem is I'm going to say we're going to split the struct right? And we're going to make a vector there. Okay. And we're going to plug it all back in for now. And we'll save that. We'll go to viewport, and I'm going to say that our y needs a factor that we are going to say minus that divided by 2. Okay. Then that is going to go in there. And let's see how that looks. Yep. That looks about spot on to me. Or as near as damn it. Maybe I've got that extent wrong. Right, but what we can do in that case is we can go to here, right? Then we can grab our extents and we're going to set it. Right, and we're going to get our bounds, but we're going to get our component bounds this time, right? And we're going to get our box extent. Okay, we're going to break the vector, then we're going to take y if you put 2 icons, nothing happens. I think I'm going to need a bit more than that. So we'll divide that by 2. Are you talking about widgets? Right. So we're going to divide that by 2 when we actually build it, right? So we're going to put that in there. That is going to go in there because we don't need that divided by 2 anymore. We don't need that divided by 2 anymore. And that goes straight in there. Okay, and that's a lot of crap. Okay, so that's basically screwed up. Okay. Okay. Right. I know what's going on. Basically what's happened is when we change this, the extents change. Right? Join Discord. There's a link in the description. and you can post the problem in there. So the problem here is that we don't want the extends while it is at minus. Okay, we want it when it's at 0. Okay, because then all that gives us is the width of the actual model. Okay, so I'm going to do the event sort of construction script. Right, now what can I actually get? Nope. Okay. So what I'm going to need to do here is we're going to actually have to go into the event graph. Right? And in begin play, we're going to have to get our outline mesh. Wait a minute, that's not going to work. Oh yeah, it is. It'll do for so we're going to get bound, and we're going to get the component bounds. Right, we're going to set everything to 0 so that we actually find out what the component bounds are. Right. So we might need to work our way around this. This is getting a bit complicated, but we should get there. So our box extent, we break a vector, right, and then we print string, and we put for, let's say, 30 seconds, gives us a chance to see what it is, right? Oopsie. And we're going to put Y in there. Okay. And now, if we go to our viewport, we've got it straight up and down, right? And we now go to the one in here, right? And we disable this one entirely for now. Okay. Which was kind of weird anyway. Right? Then this one, we moved these splines and stuff, right? So what I propose we do is we remove this entirely and we add a new one. Okay. So we're going to add a new ladder. Okay. And that's all in the right place. and you can see here it extents y is 2.93, right? Now the problem is that what was happening is if I do that, we suddenly get that, which is completely wrong, okay? That's completely wrong. When we get our extents, we need this value, right? So that was completely thrown us off what was going on, right? So when we were like multiplying and then taking off these extents, the extents were so big, right? When they should only be 2.9. Okay, now this depends on the thickness of our actual item that we want to climb up, right? So let me explain to you what the extents mean, okay? So the extents is the width of our item, okay? The maximum minimum is the furthest the item goes on the Y to the minimum it goes on the Y, right? So basically you can draw a square around the item. So for example, if I do that, we are drawing from the very top straight down, right, and from the very right hand side straight down, okay? So we basically get a rectangle around this object where the object itself is intersecting the two corners, okay? And that's what's giving us our maximum X, maximum Y, or minimum, okay? So, but the point of the matter is that we can only take our extents at position 0, because that's going to give us our true width of our item, okay? Now, what we could do is get all the items and basically save these values, or programmatically what we can do is we can save, when we load it up, we can place it, we can save the rotation, right? Then we can move it to X0 to get the extents, right? And then move it back to what it was. So basically what we would do was, if this was say 20, right? We would move it back to 0, then we'd take the extents and then we'd move it back to minus 20, or in this case 20, right? But if this was minus 20, right? So yeah, the extents are causing us an issue. And on that, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, hit the like and subscribe. I'm going to go and grab a quick drink and cigarette, and I'll be right back. Check the description for links to Discord and also Patreon and my previous game on Steam, which you can add to your wish list for absolutely nothing. And I shall be right back, guys. Okay guys, we are back and let's have a look at the problems here, if we indeed have any. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to change this back to 0. Okay. We're going to get to our construction script. We're going to change this and take that off, and we know that it's 2.93. okay, so if we work with this number, we know that that is the correct thing. Okay, so now if we look in the viewport, we get our object, and we spin it. We've got our bottom collision, but our top collision is off. Okay, now I'm guessing that's 2.93, okay, on the Y. So I'm going to say 2.93, except we're going to minus that. Not quite right, but closer than it was. So our next issue is if we change this to minus 20, our box is not going down. Our box should be going down as the extents go down. Okay, and our spline should also be going down. Our spline is absolutely perfect, right? We will look at this again, right? And we'll put it to minus 30. And then we'll check our spline again. Our spline is still spot on. Okay. So the coordinates of our spline should be the relative coordinates of our top collision box. Okay. It's really as simple as that, except that's not what's happening. Right? So when we're calculating our spline, it's going great. When we calculate this, not so great. Okay. And there's our extents and all the rest of it, and this is getting calculated. Okay. So we are setting this variable, but it is a local variable. Okay. Now, I'm just wondering here if I'm doing something really weird. Apparently not. So I'm going to go to the construction script, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm just wondering, can I get a spline point and attach something to it? That would be weird. Spline point I'm wondering if I can get a spline point. I wonder, right, see if I do this, right? If I say array, or after this, right? If I get a copy, oh wait a minute, spline point, I wonder if I can get spline points. Apparently not. Oh, that's a bit of a bummer. Or, wait a minute, it might not be, it might just be points. Get points. No, it just says get number of spline points. And that just gives me that. Right, so what I was going to do was, we're going to do this in a slightly different manner. Right, we're going to say calc spline point, right, and we'll make that a vector. Okay, and we are going to view this, so we're going to do that. We're going to say set, we're going to drag that in there, we're going to drag this in here, then we're going to drag that there. Okay, we're not, well, we'll do that, right, but in our event graph we're going to get our top collision, right, and we're going to do set relative location. Okay, and then we're going to do it at calculated spline point. Okay, compile that. Right, we're going to drag that out into a reasonable place, and then we're going to run it. Right, now the question is, where is this spline point? And there it's there, right in front of us. Right, right, it's not great. It's not in a great place. Right, still something going on, weird going on with this. Right, so we're going to do that. And we're going to go back to our construction script. Event graph. No, construction script viewport. Right, and this box is annoying the crap out of me. Right. Even if I can get it. Right, so we're going to do that and put it back basically the way it was. Right. And take it from there and see how we go with this. Right. Right. Let's look at viewport. So this is doing absolutely nothing. Right. So with that in mind, we ain't going to do that. This basically goes straight in there. Okay. And this is taking its time. Seems a bit weird. Right, so that's that. Viewport. Okay. Now we've got something. So this is the half. Right? This is the half height. So basically what we need to do and this is the Z, is multiply that and put it in there. Right? We don't need to get our top collision at all. In fact, I don't think we need this for anything apart from X. Because we don't move X at all. Okay? So this Y isn't making sense. Right? So if I now look at the viewport, we've got that, but that's not the maximum. Okay? So there's something else going on there. So we get the maximum Z. And we multiply it by 2. Okay. So this ain't right. If we get that, right, and you can see that our Z is not moving at all. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that. So what I'm going to do here, just for a bit of a giggle, right, is I'm going to remove this, and what we're going to do is we're going to get one thing to work at a time. Right, so our first item on the agenda, I was much closer to this when I started, that has to be said. Right, so new location there. Okay, and for something, it doesn't like doing these calculations. or my computer needs a restart or something, but there's something weird going on. Right, so back to our viewport. Now, so our Z is in the correct position. When we move this object, our Z should move along with it, which it does not. Okay. Which is all kind of tragic. But hey ho. So, what we're going to do and we are setting the relative there, and it is the top collision box, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get our object mesh, and this time I'm going to get the component bounds. Okay. Then we're going to get our box extent, and we're going to break that and we're going to get our Z, and we're going to put it in there. We're going to compile, and we're going to see where we are regarding now. Okay, we hit the viewport. We hit the object mesh. We say -20. Did that go down? I don't know. We'll say -40. That is going down. Now, I'm going to say we are right there. That is right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back to the construction script, right, and right here where we're doing the Z, I am going to minus our extents, right? And then I'm going to plug that in there, and I'm going to plug it in there. I'm going to compile, then I'm going to save it, right? Now I'm going to save all for now, right? And now we're going to have a look at our viewport. I think I'm going to have to restart this. So if we look at our top collision box, you can see that our extents are pretty close. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing again, right? We're going to take it from the Y, so this is going to go here. We're going to take that away, then we're going to do that. We're going to compile that. Right, and that's going to take a moment, apparently. And that has not moved at all. Okay. Our Y has not moved at all. Okay. So the question is obvious because we didn't plug that in. Okay. And this is getting a bit weird, why this is taking so long to change screens all the time. Or it's not there. Well, it's close. Not only is it close, it will probably do. So if we look at it from perspective, our spline is absolutely all over the place. But that's okay because we didn't really plug our spline back in properly. Except we did. So that was weird. Right. Ah, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And now our spline over here is basically a load of crap. Minus 218. And 247. Right, this is weird. This is very weird indeed. Very weird. Now, the question is, we are obviously moving this, but we're not getting the relative positions right. Now, one point was that I had moved this spline away from that. Okay. And the crazy thing was that our spline was actually working and now it's not. Right? Ah, wait a minute. That's not right. That's better. Now, it isn't quite right. But it is better. Okay. And this is the one where we set up min max. Right, so local bounds will break that. Right, and let's say we do that, and we do that, and then we do that. How's that going to look? Is the popular question. I'm just interested to know what this is actually going to be. It didn't make any difference. So that is bizarre. And this should actually be plus. Okay, well guys, I'm going to work on this into the night. It's confusing as heck, but we're going to get there. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. I shall be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Check out the description for Discord, my Patreon, which supports the channel and the game, and also my previous game on Steam. And we shall be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Bye bye for now.